Alright, so our next step is going to be converting from our rich text file into an EPUB file. Now, when I do this, I use a program called Calibre, and it is a free download from this website, calibre-ebook.com, and you just download the program and then set it up on your computer. I've already got mine open. So when you have your program open, you're going to first of all go to the Add Books button at the top. Okay, and I need to pick the file that has the rich text format file, and I want Fireburn, so I'm going to open that. Now I removed all the graphics, which was just the cover art, because it makes it too huge of a file if I leave the graphics in there, and I just add them in the Calibre program. I do put the graphics in for the Smashwords because that's just a straight Word document. But for this one, when I'm changing it to an EPUB and to a Mobi, I leave it out until I get to this point. Alright, once the book is uploaded into your main working screen, you're going to start by editing the metadata. Okay, now because I saved the file with the author's name intact, it comes up correctly here. If that's not in there, then you will have to adjust this. Okay, now Fireburn is actually the second book in a series, Cauldron Bubble series. Actually, that might not be the series name. Let me check. It's not in there, so we'll go with Cauldron Bubble and we'll say it's book 2. Alright, in the metadata I am going to add a cover here, and because this is just a practice one, I'm going to use a cover that I've already got, just a random one. And I want a full-size graphic here, so I'm going to hit Browse and go into my files. And I will just use the one that I used before. Okay, and this is my full-size graphic for this. Okay, you can add in tags, you can add in the publishing date, and you can define this, and you can go in and usually the publisher, if it's a self-publisher, is going to be that person's name, so I'll just select Windy Night from the list and put English in the language. You can add tags in, say I want angels and demons and see witches or paranormal. You can add others in. Okay. Now not necessarily all these tags work for this book, but you can see how it works. You can either add from the tag list that you've already created, or you can add in your own tags. Okay, once this page is done, then you just hit OK, and it saves that into the file. Alright, and then you're going to want to convert. So you have your Fireburn selected, you hit Convert. Okay, the first thing you have to make sure is that the input format over here says RTF, and you're going to start not with the Mobi but with the EPUB, because the RTF converts to an EPUB, and then we convert the EPUB to the Mobi after we have edited the EPUB. Alright, you can also put in like the cover blurb here if you want to. We are going to go into the look and feel. And there are certain things that we need to change here. I choose the font family so it stays true to what I originally had picked. So I go down and find my Palatino Linotype. Okay. I click these. I don't know if they actually do anything, but I click them anyway. I'm going to remove space in between paragraphs because the conversion will automatically put them in. And then I'm going to change the indent size to no change so that it doesn't mess with anything that I've already done. Okay, so that's in the Layout tab. Remove space in between paragraphs and change the indent size to no change so it stays true to my original file. Alright, once I have that done in the look and feel, I'm going to come down to my EPUB output. Okay, I want to preserve cover aspect ratio. And then I am ready to hit OK. Okay, it'll show you down here in the corner that the job is working, that it is right now converting from the RTF into the EPUB. When it finishes, this will change to 0 and EPUB will jump up here in the formats. And it takes usually a couple of minutes, depends on how long the book is. And since we took the images out, we don't have to worry about that taking longer because the file is bigger. You can even see here in the size, the various sizes of the books are all about, around 1 to 2 megabytes, but this one down here is 47. That's because when I brought it in, I had the images in there, and so the file is huge. Okay, still waiting for that to process through. I used to have to use 2 different programs to edit the EPUB. I'd have to go into a program called Sigil to edit the EPUB, but Calibre has made some changes to their program, so now they have an editing program right here. So you go in and make sure that your EPUB looks clean, fix anything that needs to be fixed. I usually add in the images, and I change the scene breaks from the asterisks that we saw in the prepping station to like little swirly things. Just depends on the book. Okay, still processing. There it is. Okay, so the EPUB popped up here. And now I'm going to click on the Edit Book icon. And it will pull up another screen. Eventually. There it is. Okay, so over in the right hand column it'll show you the live preview of the page that you're viewing, and here's where the code is going to set up. So if I click on title page, it'll show the code here. If I have to make any changes, I do it in this window, and over here it will show what the page actually looks like. And I think the reason that the program is moving so slow is because I have my screen capture software on, and that is making everything slow down. Okay, this is my copyright page, and since the page hasn't shown up yet, I know that there were 2 page breaks before this fire burn line here. So I'm going to go to the first page break, which starts here. Okay, once the page shows up, you can actually click there and it will take you to that right spot. So I want to be here. Okay, and then you're going to insert the image. Okay, I don't want to use the same cover image because it's too big and it will be humongous when I convert. So I'm going to import a smaller version of the image. Now, because I don't have that one already preset, I'm going to import another one that is already set up to the right size. And you want about 200 by 300 pixels. So I'm just going to go back into Wendy's file, and we'll take Rocker, and we'll take Rocker Boy 200 by 300, and I will input that there. Okay, so it will look like this in the file preview. And you can see that the rest of this, it kind of scrunches it down and it looks a lot smaller than it did when we were going through the Word document, but it's pretty typical. I mean, any e-reader that you open a document on or a book on, because people can change the size of the font however big they need it to be so that they can read it. So the pages, the words are going to move around on the page. For every viewer it will be different. And that's one of the things that when the file conversion happens, it makes those kind of things possible. So just don't be too worried about how it looks, if it looks scrunched on the page or if it looks out of shape. It should look just fine when it comes out on their device that they're reading on. Alright, so this page is good and we're going to leave it like that. Okay, and normally what I'll do is I'll rename these so that I know what they are when I go back. Okay, and I'll just call that one copyright because I know that that's going to be my copyright page. And because we had split those two pages, there's a second copyright page here. Normally my Swashwords file is going to look a little bit different than my EPUB file, so this would have been on the other page. So that's more my copyright 2. Okay, and then I have my dedication. This looks good on the page how it is, so I'm just going to rename this, and I'm just going to put Dedi for dedication, and that way when I go back I can see what that is without having to open it again. Alright, now this is chapter 1, so when I rename this one I'm just going to hit 1. Okay, and then I'm just going to double check through the page to make sure everything looks right. Okay, now if we had not made this all uppercase, then it would, just be initial caps. Because this is not the same Felix tiling it was, but you can see that the capital letters here make it look really nice and stand out, looks professional. You can see our subtle reference here. Okay, and just go through to make sure that there's nothing that looks too off. Now because we did all that prep work on the front end, there's not nearly as much stuff to fix when we get into this conversion. There's only a few things that you have to do, and most of that is just adding in images and just looking for any inconsistencies. Okay, that page looks good, so I'm going to go on to the next one, and I am double clicking on this left menu here. Okay, change that to chapter 2. Okay, and again I'm just going to glance through. I'm just using my scrolling button on the mouse, my scrolling wheel, to go down looking for inconsistencies at this point, just to make sure everything is in there. And if I come across a scene break, which we should, I think there are only 2 in this book that I found. Okay, I'm going to go to number 3. Again, change my file name to 3. And that file name change just makes it so much easier when you go back to do the final stages. If you can just see exactly what each page is, you don't have to go back into it, because you can see that these split things here are weird. And they don't always tell you what chapter you're on. Okay, 3 looks good. I'm going to go to 4. Okay, here we find the scene break. Okay, so what I will typically do is you go over in the coding and I highlight those asterisks because I like to insert like a little, swirly or something fancy in there. And again, you can leave just the asterisks in as a scene break, and a lot of books have those, and it's, it's perfectly fine. For me though, I like to add a little image in there just to make it look just, a little nicer. Okay, so some of the ones that I just have ready to go, I've got this decorative line. And so I insert that. And you can see it's just a little bit different. Kind of set that off. And I've got my subtle reference here. I only did the 4 words, and I had done that in the Word document part of this. Okay, glancing through again to make sure there's no inconsistencies. And that one looks good, so then I just move on. And pretty much you just keep doing that all the way through. And since we did so much of the prep work at the beginning, you're not going to find those inconsistencies very often. Sometimes you miss something, like you forget to put in a section break, or something got messed up in the coding, and so but you'll be able to fix it when you get to this step. And so this is just making sure everything is clean and good and ready to go. Okay, I'd like to find that other scene break for you. So I'm going to go through a couple more of these until we find it. So I can show you that you don't have to insert the image in the same way every single time. Once it's uploaded once, then you don't have to worry about it. You just add it from the list. Okay, this is another good way to double check to make sure that you've got your numbers lining up. Since you're going through here chronologically, you can double check to make sure that your chapter heading is correct. Okay, I might not be able to find it. I don't remember which chapter it was in, but there was one other scene break. If I need to add another scene break, and a lot of books have a ton of them. Some authors have a scene break like every other page. Okay, say that there was a scene break here at Quinn's mouth. Doesn't like it, so I'm going to leave that alone. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Okay. Well, that was handy. Alright, so I want to add that image back in here. So I'm going to click on the insert image icon, and then I'm just going to click on that image that we had used as the scene break before. Okay, and this one you can see that I had forgotten to pull that out to the side and do my subtle reference. That part I can't actually fix in here, so then I would have to go back out and do it in the other program. But because this is just a practice file, we're not going to worry about that. That's one of the things that can make it kind of tedious, is you get something that you can't fix, you just can't fix it. And you have to go back and start over. Alright, so I add my scene break in there. Now when I get completely finished here and I've renamed all my files, okay, then I am going to add in my semantic tags. Okay, so I'm going to go down to in the tool menu on set semantics. Okay, these are the different files, and these are my type of semantics. So I don't have an acknowledgements page in this because I don't have the end matter with the author bio and so on with it. So if I did have an acknowledgments page, I would have renamed it in my file browser over here as acknowledgments or ACK. And then I would go click on that file here and have it be acknowledgments, but I don't have that. So I have a copyright page. So I'm going to click on that, set semantics, and then I'm going to click on my copyright file. Okay, and that will set my target here. Okay, and then I am going to go to the dedication tag and click on the file that I renamed Dedi. Okay, and that sets my target. And then I'm going to go to text or first real page of content. Okay, and I'm going to set my chapter 1. Alright, now all these other files popped up in here, which tells me that I did not clear out the bookmarks in the original file. So that would be another thing that I would have to go back and fix. Most of the files that I get don't have preset bookmarks, but this file was originally done in Scrivener and then converted into a Word document. And so that will have preset bookmarks, not because the author meant to do it, but because the program conversion created them. So I have to remember to take out those bookmarks from my Word document, and that is something I'll have to go back and do. But at this point, since it's just a practice, I'm going to leave it in there, and I'll have to address that in another video, how to clear out the bookmarks. Okay, so once I've set my first real page of content, I can stop there. Okay, but if you want to do like the author biography and different stuff like that, you can go through here. I usually just put the author biography as notes, but at this point you're good just to go with that, and then you hit OK and it sets those. Now you can remove any unused CSS rules. There probably aren't any in here because I didn't put any images in that I didn't use. And so I'm going to just show you, you just click on that and do it, just in case there were extra image files or something in there that weren't used. It removes them and cleans up the file. Okay, and then you can click this Beautify Current File. I don't know that it really changes too much. It just kind of cleans up the coding. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you save this so that the EPUB, all the changes that you just made in the EPUB will stay in the EPUB. Okay, so you hit the save, and once you've saved, then you can exit this editing window. Alright, and then we're going to convert from EPUB into Mobi. So we're going to make sure that we change this one because it will default to RTF, which was the original file we uploaded into the program. So we want to change the input format to EPUB and then make sure that the output format is Mobi. So Mobi is the file format that is used for Kindles. So that's the one that you would upload to Amazon, or the author would upload to Amazon. EPUB is sort of, the main sort of generic ebook thing, and it's used. Nook uses it, and the majority of the other devices use it, iTunes and so on. Okay, and for this you don't have to mess with any of these things because we already fixed it in the EPUB, so you don't have to go to look and feel or any of that because it's already set. So you just make sure your output format says Mobi and your input format says EPUB, and then you hit OK. Okay, again, it'll show down here the job is working and it's processing through the conversion. Okay, now there will be a problem with this conversion because we had left those preset bookmarks in there and it will throw everything off, more than likely. So I will have to go back into the document when I do this for real and clear all those unwanted bookmarks. So I'm actually going to pull up that file and we'll just take a look at it while that job is processing. And I'm going to go into the Microsoft version of this, and then I would have to resave it into the rich text format. And this is just to give you an idea of the preliminary things that I totally should have done, but completely forgot. Okay, now it's just being done. Oh, there's the problem. It's already open. Okay. So what I'm going to do is you go into, I believe it's the insert menu. Yep. And then here at the bookmark, you're going to click on bookmark. Now this whole window should be clear, and obviously it is not, and it's showing all the hidden bookmarks and everything. So the file that came in from Scrivener is going to be full of these bookmarks. And again, the author did not do it on purpose, it's just that the way the program did it. So I am going to have to delete these. And so that this whole box is empty. I don't know if it will let me select all at once. Nope. So yeah, you pretty much have to do these one by one, which is rather tedious. So the first several times that I did this formatting, it took me hours and hours and hours, and part of that was because the prep work at the front was not done correctly. And so the prep work at the beginning that you saw in the first two parts of this tutorial is really important. It cleans up the entire document, and as long as you don't forget to get all these extra bookmarks out of here, it makes it so that you don't have any issues in the conversion. And really the whole conversion process is just double checking to make sure there's no inconsistencies or if you missed anything, and to put the images in for the cover and the scene breaks and author pictures or anything else that they want put in there. But for the basics, doing the prep work ahead of time makes the conversion process just really smooth. Now, some of the authors that I work with, they always send me an absolute mess to clean up. Wendy is not one of those. She always sends a really good file, and it's usually really easy to clean up. And this is just something that I forgot to do, which happens. But you just can't let it stress you out. Alright, so I've removed all the bookmarks, and that will clean up the coding on this file. Now there was that one thing that I forgot, so I'm going to go back into my find and type in my scene break asterisks. And there's the first one, that one's good. And here's the second one, and what I forgot to do was that. Okay, so now she's all pretty again. Okay, if I was going to save this into an RTF, I would take out the image because it makes the file much smaller. And I do have to save it into an RTF again. First I have to save, let me undo that. I have to save this file, and then I have to go in and do the save as and save it as an RTF one more time over the top of the other one. And then of course I would have to re-upload that to the Calibre program and do everything that we just looked at.